and I was evaluating a couple of options to have track and trace for the medical device, which did not turn up because it was too difficult.
Yeah. The reason for my question is following you earlier explained how important, let's say, the aspect is that track and trace is handled as a program because it basically changes the whole business process and is a long-term program. Have you seen, and if yes, what kind of differentiations have you seen across those verticals from an implementation point of view?
A very good question. Pharmaceutical companies, even big companies, when they started track and trace, they were thinking about it not as a strategy, but like a cost. So they were also not really that organized. They really didn't deal it as a program initially in an early stage, let's say 2010, because Turkey, I can give you more examples with pharmaceutical. Pharmaceutical track and trace started somewhere in 2010 with Turkey as the first country to really push that. So at that time, even big companies were not so much organized, but over a period of time, they understood that, yes, it's really not just a small project, it has a huge impact. So they kind of became more organized on their side, and they all learned how to do a proper program management for track and trace. That's number one. And number two, what the companies found out that initially when a track and trace project started, every production site sometimes were doing what they wanted. Some production site will say, "Oh, I want have this little change in the solution." Another production site will say, "I want something different." So it made it very hard for the company to standardize solutions from a corporate level. So now what even big companies did is for track and trace, they even have corporate track and trace program management team. So the corporate program management team will ensure that each of these production lines and sites across Europe, Germany, US, they are trying to follow certain standards, and it's not that everybody is trying to ask for something special. So sorry. So I think that's one of the really way they matured. So to your questions about the other industries, it's exactly the same, that they are starting with less maturity, and they would also learn over the period. But that's what. But since pharmaceutical industries have done track and trace over a couple of years, that know-how people try to kind of learn from that mistakes. Also, some of the companies also can say, okay, I would love to know what happened in pharmaceutical companies, how they did it, and how we can learn from that. And for that, sometimes they also rely on their vendors. For example, if you are a food company A, and you come to me and say, okay, Surabh, you have supplied track and trace solutions for almost 10 years to pharma companies. What are your learnings? And what are the recommendations you would give me so that I do it also properly? Because, track and trace, as I said, you do not buy just a product from your solution providers. You work with them as partners, and there is a lot of consulting that you would expect your solution provider to do because it is very complex. It has a lot of business process. So that would be one of your expectations also from your vendors to go and ask, okay, you tell me what I should do that will help me to do it in the right way. So they should bring their experience from the other industry and put it into your table and help you. And that's why you could also classify which is the right vendor for you, because if somebody doesn't bring that, then maybe he's not the right guy for you as a partner.
Very good. Very good. Thank you. Next question. What clearly stated or perceived that the value adds have you experienced derived for these companies implementing track and trace?
I think that's
beyond the pure compliance. I think the compliance is the obvious one, yeah.